Welcome to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast, your guide to future tech trends and innovation in a language you understand. Now, over to your host, Neil Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. What kind of week have you all had this week? Do you have any plans for holidays? Or is there any great tech or guests that you think I should check out? Remember, you can always catch me on Twitter at Neil C. Hughes or email me directly at techblogwriter@outlook.com, where I have an open door policy to each and every one of you listening. If you're going to tune in every day, least I can do is make myself available to you all. Now, I recently discovered a company called Brainshark. They're a sales readiness software company that equips businesses with the training, coaching, and content that they need to prepare salespeople when, where, and how they work. Thousands of companies, including more than half of the Fortune 100, rely on Brainshark to identify and close those performance gaps and get better results from their sales enablement initiatives. But the reason that I invited them on today was to find out more about Brainshark's new artificial intelligence-powered engine that elevates sales coaching and readiness, not in the future, but right here, right now. And they're also using machine analysis processes for sales rep videos, generating automated insights on sellers' ability to stay on message, the emotions that they exhibit, and so much more. So buckle up and hold on tight as I beam your ears all the way to Boston so we can speak with Sandeep Soman from Brainshark. So a massive warm welcome to the show, Sandeep. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Sure thing. I head product and design at Brainshark, and I consider myself very fortunate to work with some of the smartest people on the planet, developing a sales readiness platform that's being currently used by millions of users. And just from a background standpoint, Neil, understanding how customers go about their job has always amazed and excited me. So that in turn has really fueled my passion for building winning products that solve hard problems. And that's exactly what we're doing here at Brainshark now, helping solve sales enablement challenges for our customers.
Now, having discovered you guys some time ago, my understanding is that Brainshark is a sales enablement software for an always-ready sales force. And it actually helps reps learn and prepare wherever, whenever, and however they work. So they're always ready for any selling situation. But for anyone listening that is new to this world, can you just tell the listeners a little bit about what problems you solve for your customers and also what you do differently from all the other sales enablement software solutions out there?
Yeah, so per CSO Insights, quota attainment is on a 5-year decline, right? And the past couple of years, we have nearly half of the salespeople missing their sales quota. And if you look at the reasons for why they're missing that quota, the number one reason that's quoted or mentioned is the inability or failure to articulate value to their customers. So now, as you look at these customers, to help achieve their revenue goals, companies, hopefully, they'll hire the right talent. But you know what? Scary as it sounds, that may be the easy part in the whole equation here. Once hired, how do you onboard them properly and quickly? We live in a highly dynamic world where the one constant is change, right? Whether it is new product updates or market changes or what the competition is doing, it's a constant change there. And with that kind of a change, how do you provide the reps with a continuous learning experience throughout the year and even over the long term with their careers? So when we look at our customers, after they have onboarded and trained, one of the questions they also ask is, how do you give them those tools that will help them sell? And then how do we use analytics or metrics to basically measure their performance? So at Brainshark, we provide software that helps companies prepare sellers with the knowledge and skills that they need. And we do this across 3 areas, starting with content creation, learning modules, and then video coaching to help reps stay on message and deliver continuous value to their customers.
One of the reasons I invited you on the show today is because you're using technology to transform an industry and offer an alternative to the old way of doing things. So can you tell me more about how you recently unveiled machine analysis and an artificial intelligence powered engine that improves sales coaching, augmented coaches' feedback and scoring to ultimately give sellers a stay on message that improves their individual performance?
Yeah, Neil, I love your status on Skype, right? It says technology works best when it brings people together. And we see it similarly at Brainshark, especially with our latest AI offering. Companies want their sellers to be situationally ready for those 3-foot conversations with their buyers. Questions such as, how are you different from the competition for feature X? Or how is your company dealing with GDPR? These require your reps to stay on message and deliver an effective response every single time to gain credibility with the buyer. Our video challenges help with that exercise, help make the rep stay on message, and makes it almost muscle memory, especially when they're put into that situation in real life. So in a sense, these are automated micro-assessments with consistent feedback and scoring to evaluate real-life scenarios. And these really form the basis for Brainshark's machine analysis. Our AI engine is really designed to be taught what phrases or keywords to look for, and conversely, what to avoid as sellers submit their video responses. In addition to these, we can also figure out if sellers use too many filler words, the ums and the ahs and so on and so forth, or spoke too fast. I have been accused of that. And even the level of comprehension. All this is processed by our AI engine after it automatically transcribes these video responses to such scenarios and generates an overall machine score. This enables your sales managers to save time and streamline the coaching process and quickly identify specific areas to improve with sellers before they get in front of a buyer. Kind of brings it full circle back to your Skype status about, tech helping people come together.
I couldn't agree with you more. And that's something that I say at the end of every podcast as well. It's something I really believe in. And if we look at Gartner, they estimated that by 2020, 30% of all B2B companies will employ AI to augment at least one of their primary sales processes. So is that something that motivates you? And how do you see AI continuing to transform both your business and for your clients too?
Whether we like it or not, AI is here to stay, right? Yeah. It's not here to replace humans as movies would have us believe, Will Smith in one of those movies, but really augment our jobs, really bring in those efficiencies and help us focus on more strategic work. So following the trends in most market segments, AI is also making the similar huge inroads into the B2B sales coaching landscape. And most of the AI-driven tools emerging now in the market, they tend to focus more on the sales data analytics and call handling to predict behaviors that will most likely lead to a successful win. And there are tons of big players, small players who are enjoying tremendous success with buyers as they attempt to bring in those efficiencies to their sales processes. We at Brainshark firmly believe AI-driven technologies and tools will permeate every aspect of sales. There'll be some hits and misses for sure. That's part of technology. But overall, sales coaching is primed for a huge leap forward, and Brainshark is uniquely positioned to lead the charge here.
So are there any use cases or scenarios that you can share that will enable anyone listening that maybe work in sales just to understand how Brainshark's machine analysis can make that huge impact, not in the future, but right now?
Absolutely. Yeah, we have a broad customer base across tech, med devices, pharma, financial, retail. So you can imagine we have our fair share of use cases where the customer comes up with something for machine analysis and we go, oh yeah, we can totally help you with that situation. So the core of this whole thing, Neil, is really, practice makes perfect, right? So today, reps practice with their peers or solo before going in front of a buyer, but they're not always fully confident of delivering the message in the right manner. And you certainly don't want to practice on your customers the first time around. So machine analysis is helping individual reps or entire sales teams practice their pitch and get instant results on how they fare, make corrections, so that they are ready for that prime time with a real customer. Machine analysis also helps instill what we call a safe environment for reps to perfect that pitch. Something that is very important to reps without feeling pressure to get it right the first time in front of the manager, or worse, with their customer. And we see customers already doing a lot of these things with machine analysis, and it goes across different segments. And it's always fascinating to me as the product guy to see our customers use it, whether it is arming reps with info about a new med device for cataract patients, to tech reps talking about GDPR, or even high-end retail chains, training their store associates to give that ultimate customer experience to the shoppers coming in.
Now, you did mention a few moments ago about using machine analysis to pick up on the speed of someone's conversation and if they say ums and ahs and things like that. So can you tell me more about how that machine analysis also provides unique automated insights on reps' videos, including like personality and emotion analysis? Because you kind of hinted at that a few moments ago.
So in addition to what we discussed earlier about, topic coverage, phrases to look for, phrases to avoid, filler words and comprehension level, our AI engine also processes the video response to look for certain personality traits and emotional analysis. Now you may ask, why all of this? Well, so as you know, being on message is one critical aspect of sales. But having the right personality to help bridge that chasm is totally something else, right? Yeah. So, Neil, let's say you're in the market for a new social platform to, let's say, amplify your podcast, right? Yeah. How would you feel if I could perhaps solve your problem, but come across as someone showing contempt or a very low level of agreeableness, if that's a word? Would you, A, take my next call, and B, if so, be willing to do business with me? I have to have this really incredible product that you're dying for to do business. Chances are you've moved on to my competition. So it's not that the rep was looking at your business with contempt, but rather the perception or the way he or she came across being that main issue there. So our AI engine, in addition to all the wonderful things we talked about staying on message, it also helps coach reps with the insights about their personality, about the emotional analysis that they're exhibiting, to really give that full 360-degree view in a real-life scenario. So, think about this from a sales manager standpoint, having that full view into not only what you're saying to articulate your message, but also, the filler words, the comprehension level, coupled with how your personality and your emotions are exhibited during that conversation, during those 3-foot conversations. Those are key to having that next follow-up call, having that next step to close a deal. And that's where, the AI engine that we have just put out there really helps reps get to that next level.
And how have users responded to it? Have you had any resistance, or do most people just embrace it and appreciate the feedback that it gives them?
And it's funny you asked that, right? So it's more where initially, whenever you ask somebody to record themselves about giving that pitch, there's always that little bit of a, hesitancy, right? It's human nature. Whether it's you or me or a really seasoned, ultra confident rep, there's always that, that hesitancy in terms of recording yourself and showing it to others. But what machine analysis provides is this safe area, right, where you can submit your pitch. Don't have to worry about your managers looking at it, your peers looking at it, anybody. It's your first round. You want to have it. And then let the virtual sales coach or the machine tell you, how you fared in terms of the value that you're articulating and some of the other things we talked about. That is so key that now we're seeing a lot of the customers actually take on this particular module, saying, this is awesome. This enables us to have that kind of a coaching culture within the organization.
Yeah, I think so many people just hate the sound of their voice when it's been recorded and played back to them. I mean, I've recorded, over 500 podcast interviews, and I have to edit every single one, and I still hate the sound of mine. So for somebody that doesn't have to go through that on a regular basis, I could understand how it could be intimidating. But you've also recently released dashboards too. I mean, how do they fit into what you're building at Brainshark?
Great question. So, if you believe the greatest challenge for sales enablement teams is getting reps to be ready to sell, well, then how do you measure that? Once they've done all those activities, how do you truly measure that? So we released Readiness Dashboard earlier this summer, I think it was a couple months ago, to give sales leadership insight into truly how ready their teams are to sell effectively. These go both at the team level as well as across teams, to show, perhaps that the European team is doing great with their readiness levels, but the East team in North America, they need some attention with, let's say, discovery skills. You can drill down to see what specific level they are at and what members are perhaps dragging the team down, so appropriate action can be taken with those team members. And we've seen, again, a lot of our customers sometimes even just start with the readiness dashboard to say, here's our kind of our benchmark, here's where we are today. Now let's plan our training strategy, our video coaching strategy, so that we can move the needle, in the right direction and keep continuously measuring that. So the readiness dashboard is, again, something that has been adopted widely and is one of those I hate to call it a measuring stick, but it's essentially that when it comes to truly how ready your teams are.
Excellent. So as we look into our crystal ball and towards the future, what's next for Brainshark? Is there anything else that you can share with us today about how you're going to continue to use technology to essentially innovate and drive your business forward?
Yeah, we're busy putting out innovative product updates on literally a daily and weekly basis. This is where I have the most fun with our product and design team, working hand in hand with engineering to deliver continuous value to our customers. Like I said at the beginning, I am fortunate to work with some of the smartest people on the planet. Machine analysis with topic coverage, like I said, is just the tip of the iceberg. But we are continuing to expand our AI footprint. We're also looking at several aspects of the sales readiness journey, right from the start to, including actionable insights, smart recommendations, and a lot more that's in the pipeline that we're doing for the rest of 2018. We're also working on helping customers reach that state of perpetual readiness, right? Like we said before, we live in a world of constant change. So how do you make sure that you're now ready with the next update, or the competition putting out their next update out there, or competition getting acquired by somebody else and that changing the market landscape? How do you always stay ahead of that? And that is what we call a state of perpetual readiness. So a lot of the work that we're doing right now, we will be looking to address that piece of it. And then, like we said about the readiness dashboards, the insights that we have today, again, we are expanding that to focus on key areas and improving that with more intelligent recommendations to bridge the gap, which is, again, another focus area. So, really for us, the rest of 2018 promises to deliver some really exciting new capabilities, and we are looking forward to share that with all our customers.
Excellent. Well, before I do let you go, could I just ask that you remind the listeners of where they can find you guys online, or maybe contact a member of your team if they have any questions?
Absolutely, yeah. You can find us on the web at www.brainshark.com, and I'm happy to speak to any customer prospects if they want to reach out directly to me as well. Totally open to the conversation.
Fantastic. Well, a huge thank you for coming on and talking with me today. I think it's fantastic what you're doing with technology here, and how it's not actually making people feel uncomfortable, it's making them feel comfortable, and it's actually improving what they do as well. It's fantastic. So a big thank you for coming on and sharing your story and what you're doing with AI technology and machine analysis.
Absolutely. This was an honor for us to be part of your podcast, and glad to share the information here.
Brainshark's sales coaching solution is fascinating to me, because the technology involved is no longer science fiction. It's happening right now, and in Fortune 100 companies. I mean, currently, videos of sales reps pitching a new product or handling objections, etc., is fairly low tech the way that they teach and learn. But this new way with Brainshark, in using machine analysis to transcribe videos and auto-generate an analysis and score for every single submission, factoring in whether a sellers adhere to those defined parameters, including coverage of key topics and low level of those filler words like are, and and so much more. Equally, using emotion analysis, where every second of that video using machine analysis is used to analyse the seller's facial expression for 8 emotions such as happiness, surprise, sadness, contempt, and noting the frequency with a submission. Example, 95% happiness, 2% sadness, 3% contempt exactly. It's all quite fascinating because we're using technology to make us more human. And that reality is right now. Managers and reps can replay those videos from within the Brainshark platform, viewing the exact moments when emotions changes. But what are your thoughts about this technology, and also how artificial intelligence and machine analysis is being used in this way? It's time for you to be part of that conversation. Yep, this is that moment where you sit uncomfortably thinking, please don't say he's pointing at me, but I am pointing at you. And I want you to email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com, tweet me at Neil C. Hughes, and let me know your thoughts. So thanks for spending this week with me. I really love having you on board. And if you find yourself in Croatia next week, let me know, and I might even buy you a beer, or a coffee, of course. But that's it for today's episode, and indeed this week. But all that's left for me to say is a big thank you for listening. And until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thanks for listening to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Until next time, remember, technology is best when it brings people together.